Hey guys, welcome to 22 Lima Romeo, where we focus on the competitive side of the rimfire world. As you can see today, we are back out at the range, filming the May 2024 NRL22 Course of Fire. I've got a new gadget that has been on the market for a couple of months. I'm sure you guys have seen videos about it. It is the new Garmin Xero C1. We have done some pretty thorough testing with this thing with several different lots of ammunition, and I'm going to tell you guys, it does not skip a beat. This thing has captured every single shot that I've taken. If you guys are in the market for a new chronograph, or if you've got an old dusty lab radar that you'd like to get rid of, you guys should really consider picking up one of these Garmin's. They are fantastic. But without further ado, let's go ahead and set up some stages. Let's get on into the NRL22 monthly Course of Fire, and then after a couple stages, I want to talk to you guys about a big announcement that was made within the organization. All right, let's get out there, ring some steel.
For the first stage of the 2025 NRL22 season, we have May the 4th be with you. We have a 1-inch on a single hanger at 44 and a 2 and 3-inch on a double hanger at 88. We're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in, action open. On the start signal, we'll engage the targets in the following order and manner with 1 shot each. Please refer to the diagram. Position 1, near, far small, far large. Moving to position 2, far large, far small, then near. Position 3, near, far small, far large. Finally, position 4, far large, far small, near.
Ready?
Ready.
Stand by. Engage.
Alright guys, let's get things going on this first stage. For my gear, I'll be using Weebad Straps Behemoth. And for the fore end, I'll be using the Grab CNC Mini Plate Pro and the Armageddon Gear Mini Plate Pro pad. I'll be setting my optic at about 10 power. Now this stage really does throw quite a bit at the competitor, particularly in the target sequence, but also in the movement. Now, I wanted to buy my time in my movement and my engagement of the targets that I knew were going to be relatively easy, which is the 3-inch and that 1-inch. The 2-inch at that range is going to prove to be kind of challenging, especially for all this movement that we have on this stage. On every single position, basically, I'm trying to replicate the same thing. I'm situating the rifle on its balance point on the fore end there and trying to make that rifle really stable. Or I'm using the strapless behemoth to tuck in and act as a filler for the stock of the rifle, helping keep it more stable than it would be without. I'm essentially rushing through that 3-inch target because that is a very generous target at 88 yards, and I'm really taking my time for that 2-inch target because that's the one I don't want to miss.
There goes my...
As we're wrapping up the stage here, and you're seeing the scope cam, you can see that my heart rate was starting to get away from me a little bit. You could really see that heartbeat impulse affecting the stock as I was building into those positions and trying to make those shots count. Something you could do if you notice your pulse starting to affect your reticle is take a couple of deep breaths, see if you can get that heart rate settled back down. That was an energetic way to start this month's Course of Fire. Let's get on into the next one. Next up, we have Summer's Getaway. We have a 2-inch at 75 yards and a 2.5 and 3-inch on a double hanger at 100. Restrictions. Following the competitor's first 6 shots, a magazine change must be completed before firing the 7th shot. Impacts made without a mag change will not be counted. We're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in, action open. On the start signal, we'll engage targets with 2 shots each in the following order and manner. From the 5-gallon bucket, near, far small, far large. Transition to the 55-gallon barrel, far large, far small, then near. Note, you may secure the 55-gallon barrel with center blocks to prevent it from rolling forward.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
Stand by. Engage.
Getting things started into stage 2. For my gear, I'm going to be keeping it simple. The Armageddon Gear Medium, that's it. My optic is going to be set at about 15 power. Now as I build into this first position behind the bucket, you'll notice as I get on target here, I don't feel comfortable, I don't feel stable enough. So I do a little shimmy, I get my hip a little flatter, I look for that anchor point, boom, I found it, and I start engaging these targets. 2 shots per with a mag change, right? That's what the course description says. Unfortunately, I forget a crucial part of that equation, and that's the mag change. So as I transition over here to the 55-gallon drum, I should be changing mags, but instead, I've got to eat 4 missed shots on this one. Now, building into that position right there, you'll notice that I'm doing sort of the same thing. I'm resting that left hip onto my left heel, and then I'm raising that right knee up to get an anchor point for the stock of that rifle to make these shots count. However, they're technically misses because I didn't read well enough. There's that required mag change on shot 10 instead of shot 6. This course of fire is a little tricky. Let's get on to the next
30
one.
seconds left.
Drop one.
Next up, we have laying in the shade. We have a 1/4 and 1/2 inch on a KYL rack at 40, a 3/4 and 1 inch on a KYL rack at 65, and a 3 inch on a double hanger at 100. We're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in action open. On the start signal, we'll engage the targets with 1 shot each in the following order and manner. From the prone position, first KYL, large, then small. Second KYL, large, then small. Then move to the ladder and engage the far target. Then we're going to move back to prone, engage the first KYL, small to large, then the second KYL, small to large, and finally the ladder for the far target. Rolling right into stage 3 for this month's Course of Fire, we have our prone KYL stage. For my gear, I'll be using the Harris SBRN bipod with the Really Right Stuff ARCA adapter and the Armageddon Gear Schmedium. I'm going to be running my scope at about 15 power. So for my strategy on this one, as with any prone stage, I really need to stay focused on my fundamentals to make those shots on the KYL count. So my brain immediately switches into kind of a bench rest mode, where I'm just focused on clean trigger pulls, keeping that reticle nice and stable, and making impacts on these small targets. Now, as you guys can see here, I'm getting all set up to take a shot at that far target, getting my parallax set, but what I didn't realize was I'm not going to be shooting that from prone because I need to transition up to the ladder. So as we make the transition up here to the ladder to actually take this shot, the rifle's already all set up, so it should be pretty easy street. I slide my rifle in sideways so that way I don't get hung up on anything with my bipod. I break this far shot. Now, if you notice, I'm using that knee as a rear support, and I'm keeping that right foot perfectly flat on the ground. That's going to give me the stability I'm looking for to center up that shot. Now, we're transitioning back here to prone. We're going to shoot this a little different than the first time. This time we're shooting small to large. I break these two relatively quickly because I know that those bullets are going where I want them to, and then I get lined up on this far target. As you guys can see, I'm lined up on the wrong target. I quickly catch that mistake, go small to large, and then we transition back up here to the ladder for this last shot. Now, I realize I burned a lot of time fiddling with my rifle, not paying attention to what I was doing because I was focused on the wrong things. So I get my dope dialed, I get set into position, and I take a couple of deep breaths to kind of get myself settled back down to make this last shot count. This Course of Fire has proven to be pretty tricky so far to start this year, but I like it. Let's go ahead and get on to the next one.
4 seconds left.
All right, guys, well, I've got some exciting news about the league and about some changes that were made recently. So if you tuned into the latest live stream, you'll see that we have a new face for the National Rimfire League, which is also a new name. Tyler Frenier is one of the original founders of the NRL22, but with the recent addition to Travis and Brittany's family and the growing popularity of the NRL Hunter series, it was important for these two to kind of divide and conquer their two different leagues. So we welcome Tyler and Janae back into the limelight, and we wish Travis and Brittany the very best with the brand new addition to their family and the NRL Hunter series. Now, as far as I know, with the league, nothing changes. The only difference is we're going to have a new face for the monthly live stream. We're still going to have Course of Fires every month. Everybody's still going to get them. You guys are still going to get to see how we plan to shoot the NRL monthly Course of Fire. But as far as I can tell, nothing else really changes. So, With that being said, let's get out there and shoot these last couple of stages.
Next up, we have Cinco de Mayo. We have a 4-inch on a single hanger at 100 yards. Restrictions. Forward support may not touch the ground. Example given, bipods, bags, etc. We're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in, action open. On the start signal, engage the target with 2 shots from each tip, center, and then from one leg for a total of 5 different positions. Note, the center of the tank trap will be facing back towards the competitors. And remember, this is the bonus point stage. We earn 0.1 bonus point per second remaining on the clock.
Okay. You already started that one?
Yep.
Stand so I'm not in this camera. I guess back here on this side. Bennett, I'm gonna need you to move, I think. Can you get up and move so you're not in the camera? Thanks, buddy. Okay. Oh, hold on. Sometimes this is on picture again. Okay. Ready? Stand by. Engage.
Getting started finally into stage 4, we have ourselves a tank trap. For my gear, I'll be using the Armageddon Gear Medium. That's it, keeping it simple. For this stage, we've done this lots and lots of times. So I'm going to do the same thing I do on all tank traps. I'm going to set my bag up on that tip, flatten it out, set my rifle up on top of the bag, lean in with my support hand, apply a little bit of pressure onto the stock of the rifle with my support hand, splay my legs out nice and wide, effectively turning myself into a tripod with that tank trap, and I'm going to break my shots. I'm going to repeat that on all 3 tank trap tips. Same scenario, same position. Now when we transition down here to the crotch of the tank trap, or the center, I'm going to anchor my right elbow to my right knee. I'm going to build a kneeling position, get myself nice and stable. Now what you may not see is I'm actually reaching my support hand around that arm and making contact with my bag and my rifle stock. Now things get a little tricky once we transition here to the leg. We haven't done this very often. My tip to you is wax your bag, or use an Armageddon Gear sticky game changer. I use a little bit of wax in my bag, it really helps stick to that leg. We clean that with 46 seconds left on the clock.
46 seconds left.
That was a great stage.
That's clean.
Let's get on to the 5th and final stage for this month's Course of Fire. Wrapping up this month, we have setting on the roof. We have a 1-inch at 40 yards, a 1.5 at 55, a 1.5 at 60, and a 1.5 and 2 on a double hanger at 89. Restrictions. No elevation dialing is allowed once time begins. Only parallax and magnification may be adjusted. We're going to start standing, rifle and all gear in hand, mag in, action open. On the start signal, we'll engage targets from the peak of the rooftop with 1 shot each, far to near, large to small. Then 1 shot each, near to far, small to large. Note, the rooftop peak is facing the competitor. The tripod may be used as rear support.
Ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Stand by. Engage.
All right, boys and girls, we are getting started with our 5th and final stage for this month's Course of Fire. For my gear, I'll be using the Grey Ops CNC Mini Plate Pro, the Armageddon Gear Mini Plate Pro pad, and a rear tripod for support. I'm going to be running my optic at about 15 power. Now, rear tripod support is something we do not get to use very often. So I really want to show you guys how stable you can become and how to use that rear tripod support for your monthly Course of Fire. Now, as you guys can see here, with having 3 targets on stage that are the exact same size, for some reason that just confused me a little bit, and I spent a few seconds kind of gathering myself and figuring out which target I needed to shoot next. Luckily, I figured it out and I was able to get back on target and start making some impacts. So as you guys can see, that rear tripod support really does give you a bunch of stability when you're shooting a stage like this. If you watch closely, that reticle gets pretty stinking still using that tripod leg as support for the stock. Now, as you guys can see, what I've done is I create effectively a clamp with my support hand. I wrap my fingers around the leg of the tripod. I create a crevice with my thumb so the rifle stock can sit right there on my hand, and I can pinch the stock against that leg with my left thumb. Now that we've got things sort of figured out, we can start making quick work of the stage and round this thing out with a relatively strong finish.
"30 seconds.
That was a good course of fire, and I hope that was a good demonstration on how to use a tripod for rear support.
Okay.
Okay, good with that one?
Yep.
Alright.
All right, guys. Well, that is a wrap for the May 2024 NRL22 Monthly Course of Fire. Thank you, Justin McBee out of Mayfield, Kentucky, for that awesome course of fire to start off the 2025 season. If you guys like this sort of content, do me a huge favor, reach down there and click that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share this video with your shooting buddies. If you feel like supporting the channel, please visit www.buymeacoffee.com/22 Lima Romeo to help keep us caffeinated while we're out there filming the monthly course of fire for you guys. As always, we really appreciate you tuning in, and we hope to see you out on the range.